Ever wish you had someone to tell you the truth about what it takes to run a successful business and live a fulfilling life? Well, amiguita, you've come to the right place. So grab your favorite cafecito or cocktail, your courage, and let's get to work. I'm Janessa Woodhis, a therapist, business strategist, mindset coach for entrepreneurs, and a feisty Latina from Miami. And I'm determined to teach you the exact tools you need to stop settling and start kicking some serious derriere. What do you say? Are you in? Then let's get started. Welcome to Latinas Empowering Latinas podcast. Welcome to the final episode of a 3-part series with my personal business attorney and legal coach, Lisa Fraley. Lisa specializes in helping entrepreneurs and legally protecting the business they work so hard to create. I asked Lisa the most asked and juiciest questions all entrepreneurs want the answers to about protecting your website, disclaimers, and chargebacks. So sit back, grab a pen, and get ready to absorb all this life-changing info. Trust me, you don't want to miss 1 second. Because we were talking about contracts and events, because this is not second nature to so many people, talk to me about the difference between not the contract so much, but the documents versus, okay, now I have a website. Mm-hmm. And what's the importance? What do you need legally to cover you on a website? Like, are there things you can or cannot say, or are there things that you plug in to cover you?
Okay. The world of websites. Mm-hmm. Okay. When we think about a website, you are creating some information and education for people to come and pull up your URL and look at your beautiful website. Now, a couple things come to mind that you want to protect yourself when it comes to a website. First of all, you want people to know whether you're a therapist or whether you're a coach. Either way, you are not providing medical or mental health advice or any kind of professional advice on your website. Because if someone's sitting at their desk and they pull up your website, they're not your patient, they're not your client, you aren't in any type of relationship with them. So you want to make sure you have a website disclaimer that's able to be viewed through the footer of your website that tells people who you are, what you do, and what you don't do, so they don't get confused and think that they're getting therapy advice by reading a blog post on your website, for example, or getting coaching business tips on 5 ways to build your business if you're a business coach from reading your website. And if they do those steps and they don't work, they can't come after you. That's the first, is sort of for disclaimers. The second is you want to protect your actual content. So you're looking at your beautiful website with your images and your text. And you might have blog posts or articles. You might have a podcast. You might have all kinds of content that people are reading on your website. You want to protect your intellectual property. All of that, images and text and stuff on your website, is called your intellectual property. And you want to use website terms and conditions, which basically spell out, hello, lovely website visitor. Here's what you can and can't do with the content you read on my site. You can maybe print off a copy for yourself to use in a reference file, but you can't copy and take it and put it on your website or in your program or use it with your clients. This is my content. You can claim your intellectual property with love, but also with confidence, and make sure that you have that website terms and conditions. Mm-hmm. And then the last document you need for a website is a privacy policy. This is because if you have people who are commenting on a blog post or sharing their name and email address, if you have an opt-in gift or a report they can download from your website, or any interaction with you, you need to make sure that they know you're keeping their information private. This is legally required. If you have any person on your website in the state of California or in Europe, Canada, other countries, you want to make sure you have a privacy policy, especially if you have an opt-in gift. So website disclaimer, website terms and conditions, and privacy policy are the 3 documents you want for your website. This is just for the website visitors. They don't have to sign it. They don't have to check any boxes to agree to it. It just lives through your website, all these terms, and people agree to it simply by being on your website.
Mm-hmm. And some people, again, and I know the people that I'm in my mind's listening to saying, but wouldn't that just be common sense that that's not what I'm doing?
Great point. Yeah. You know what's funny about the law is that you would think that it is common sense and good ethics and good karma, as you said before, good juju, not to copy and take other people's stuff. But the way the law works is that you, as the business owner or the therapist or the coach or whoever, you have the obligation to tell people on your website what they can and can't do with it. In other words, if you haven't told them they can't do it, They don't have any rules saying that they can't, potentially. So you want to make sure that you've set your rules out there, you've set forth your policies, and that you have legal backing. Because if someone does come along and copy your gorgeous image that you created in Canva, or copy your article that you wrote that you're really proud of, if you don't have the website terms and conditions, there's nothing for you to fall back on to very clearly say, this was mine. I created it first. It was on my website. It's my content.
I'm going to read very directly. I love the way you're so sweet and gentle about things. And I'm like, okay, I need you to listen to Lisa. And what Lisa is saying is it is your job to protect yourself from people coming to your website. So no, you're not just doing them a favor. You need to do due diligence for yourself and your business and make sure that you're protected. So it is your responsibility.
That's correct.
I love it. I know I want to go into the money piece a little bit more. Talk to me a little bit about somebody signs a contract, and then I know a lot of people don't know the language yet because they're just starting off, but like chargeback. So what happens if you have a contract in place and somebody calls their, let's say they have, I have a 48-hour cancellation policy, and everybody signs the documents. It's part of my intake. It's there. They've signed it. They don't cancel with time. They end up not showing or canceling like an hour before. And then they're charged, and then they call their credit card company and say, hey, I never purchased this service. I canceled it. I want my money back. So how do chargebacks work? How do they exist, even if you have a contract in place?
Great. So the first thing you hit on, which is brilliant, is that you want to have a written cancellation policy. So if you're a therapist, you have your informed consent, you want to make sure you have your financial policies in place as well. And one is that you're telling them that if they cancel their appointment and they don't give you 24 hours notice or however much notice you need, that you're going to charge them a cancellation fee, or perhaps they have to pay for the whole appointment or part of the appointment or whatever you decide. But that needs to be in writing. Okay. That's why you need to get that informed consent and your policies all agreed to before you have your first session with them, so that they've agreed to that policy. Then later, if they do cancel, like you said, or you charge their credit card and they do a chargeback, what that means is that they're basically telling their credit card company, I didn't receive this. I didn't receive the service. I didn't agree to these terms. Please stop the payment and don't pay that practitioner because I'm disputing this charge. Now, in our country, the law favors the little person when it comes to finances because it's designed because there's a power differential between big, giant credit card companies or big, giant businesses and small consumers. This is helpful to us when we're a consumer, but if we're a small business owner, it kind of can work the other way around. What it means, though, is that you still have a right as a business owner or a therapist to be able to go through the dispute resolution process with the credit card company and submit evidence to show, no, look right here on my contract, they agreed to my cancellation policy. They had an appointment on this date. They did not show up. They said they didn't show up, but right here it says if they didn't show up, I could charge them this amount. And you can submit that evidence to the credit card company, which will go through their own dispute process to figure out what happens in that sense. So you want your document to be able to back you up, but you would resolve that with the client and with the credit card company. But that's called a chargeback. The other thing you want to be aware of on the other side over here as a coach is you want to make sure you have a refund policy. Now, therapists don't have refund policies because people can't get refunds for medical services, which is good because if you provided the service, they need to pay for the service. They can't say they didn't like what you told them in the session. That's just not how the medical world works. However, as a coach over here, and for all you coaches out there, sometimes clients say halfway through the program, I don't want to finish this program. Well, you need to have a written cancellation policy or a written refund policy that will tell people whether or not they can get a refund, whether or not they pay a cancellation fee, and be very clear about that in your signed client agreement so that if they issue a chargeback or they try to get their money back from you, you have written backing for that too. You need to be aware that this can happen, but you want to have your legal documents to help you build a defense if this does happen.
And I love it's all the safety measures you're taking for yourself and your business and all the hard work you've put into it. So I love that explanation as well. Lisa, I know we have to wrap up soon and I'm so grateful for your time. But before we do end, I've said it, people hear about you all the time. So I've personally worked with Lisa. I've gone through her programs. I purchased her templates. I've worked with her directly. Please share with people and I'll make sure to put it in my show notes, how to contact you. But not just that, what is it that you do offer as a legal coach with your templates and your programs and even working with you one-on-one so people know?
Yeah, thank you, Janessa.
Of course.
So I have loved working with you. And what I do offer are easy to use DIY legal templates that are designed for licensed practitioners and holistic practitioners, coaches, entrepreneurs, heart-centered business owners that basically are legal documents that you can use in your business that are easy to download and fill out. I always say you still want to have it reviewed by a lawyer in your state because your state law could vary a little bit, but they're designed to have the language that you need on the front end to help you in this online space, to help you in this heart-centered space, in the coaching space. And I do even have a DIY informed consent form. That is to give you legal documents that are less expensive than having a lawyer create them for you. Most lawyers' legal documents are $800 to $1,500 a document, which is actually quite reasonable, believe it or not. And these are all $400, which you can do in small payments as well. So I just try to make it accessible for you. The other thing is that I do one-on-one work for things like trademarks, LLCs, S-Corps, formation. I have a 1 hour power hour or 30-minute power hour to ask questions that are basic general legal questions where you don't really know who to ask. And either I can provide you with general answers or sometimes refer you on to other lawyers. It just depends on what your question is. So I have mostly DIY products and then some ways to work with me one-on-one under my license, my legal license. That's basically how I serve clients. And I've been doing this for about 8 years. I worked with hundreds and hundreds of licensed practitioners and non-licensed practitioners. And it makes me happy to try to make the law more accessible and easy to use.
And I love that it's all understandable. And what I will share, Lisa, and I think it's often hard for us to kind of give ourselves full credit, is that Lisa has beautifully packaged so many different contracts together, depending on what your needs are, and that you can access them either individually or she has little, like if you're working with a team, there's like team contracts. And I know in one of the power hours, if you want to complete your own DIY, which Lisa walks you through as part of the template package that you get, audio, I should say, with direction, not you personally, that if you want Lisa to go ahead and review what you have completed with her training and her documents, that's how you can also use a power hour if you're still doing that, I believe. You can actually have Lisa go back and review it. And so you can save some money.
I can't read the language and correct it for you, but you can ask questions about it for the DIY legal document.
Yes.
So if you have questions about certain areas or like, am I saying this right? Am I doing this right? I can't write it for you or review your whole document, but I can answer questions for you. Otherwise, it's no longer DIY. And that's
No. Yes. But if they want that extra support and they still want to save a little bit of money, that's the way to get guidance and kind of get a little more support if they end up feeling like they need a little bit more.
That's right.
And then lastly, I am going to share, I want to make sure your book is shared and your podcast. I'll put all that in the show notes as well. And then I want to leave with a last comment before we do end. Oftentimes I hear so much from entrepreneurs, especially when they're starting off and they're not making money yet. And they say, you know what, Janessa, I just don't have the money. And I wanted to finish saying you can't afford not to legally protect yourself and your business and everything you've worked so hard for. So if there's anything that people are going to invest in, it's their legal area of their business because it's protecting them and themselves. Lisa, I don't know if there's any final words you want to say. I'm so grateful for your time. And my whole thing is, like I always say, Lisa's my go-to business attorney. And I don't recommend people I don't believe in. I've worked with you directly and listened to all your advice and read your book. And I think you're beyond amazing. And you can't afford not to get the support that you need when you're starting a business.
Janessa, thank you so much for those kind words. And just to encourage everyone to get their legal support, please work with an attorney that you know and you like and you trust. But be sure that that attorney understands the work that you do. Like you don't want to be working with a real estate attorney if you're a therapist. You don't want to work with a family attorney if they don't understand coaching. Be sure you're working with an attorney who understands the work that you do. I'm also happy to help you if I'm able to do so. And just know that you can get started. It's not as expensive as you think. It doesn't have to be as expensive as you think. The DIY legal templates can each start with a one payment of $107 to get as template, and you can do 4 payments. Like, what lawyer does that?
That's a no-brainer to me completely.
So give yourself the gift of the legal protection to help you feel safe and secure and confident and empowered. And then keep learning from Janessa, because she has done a fabulous job at getting her business situated, obviously having the gift of being a therapist and a coach, but working with different clients separately and helping to structure 2 different businesses. She knows what she's doing. So thank you for your leadership, Janessa, and thank you for inviting me to join you. And thank you, everyone, for the work that you're doing, whether you're a therapist or whether you're a coach, because the world really needs all of this support in the mental health field and also in the coaching field. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It's been an honor as always. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited you tuned in. The best way to find out the second a new episode is released and receive all the valuable tools and actionable steps I share is to subscribe to the podcast, so make sure you do that. Sending you so much love until next time. Bye.